thank you for participating in Sip and Paint. Thanks to Leanie for getting us the supplies, and thanks to Ken for videoing this, and also Sophia is Leanie's helper, and she is always smiling and very helpful. So today, and that's a good thing because then you can look at it at your leisure. I've also heard that some people record the presentation on Channel 3 and then go back to it later. So these things, this is not something that you have to do in a half hour. All right, today we're going to do something that was inspired me for an artist who really was kind of the first of abstract art. His name was Vasily Kandinsky. And he was a Russian, and he actually ended up in Paris, in France. And he is sort of a contemporary of ours, he died in 1940, and I thought anybody that lived when I was a child is my contemporary. And he was a great artist, and he painted beautiful landscapes and portraits, but he did this color study, and this is the color study that he did, and it's sort of the art that he now is connected with. If you see this, you think, oh yeah, Kandinsky. And it's called Squares with Concentric Circles. And it wasn't a painting that he did for a museum or show, it was actually a color study. So with that in mind, we're going to do a color study using all these beautiful paints that Leanie provided and you got. All right, this is what we are using for our idea, and today we are going to do a painting, an art study, a color study based on this. So you have a piece of paper. This is not canvas. It's made for acrylic and oil paint. It's paper, but it has texture to it. So this is our canvas that we're going to use today. And if you have a paper bag, that's a good thing to paint on, and I didn't bring mine today, but the paper bag, you could tape this down to your canvas, which is, I meant to your palette, which is a nice paper bag, which I thought I had every single thing, but I didn't have that. All right, so this is divided into 12, so I thought we would do that too. I cut some strips for you that may be available, and these are just 3-inch strips, and this works really well. If you don't have these, if they run out of them, it doesn't matter, I'll show you to do it with a ruler. Lay your strip down. This is, and if you wanted to do it with your eyeball, it's fine. And I would just suggest putting your lines in very lightly. They're just for you. And then to go 1, 2, 3, which leaves us with 12 squares. Now, if you don't have one of these, a ruler always works, and what you do is just mark every 3 inches, 3, 6, 9, 3, 6, 9, connect the dots, Then do the same the other way. 1, 2, 3, mark, 1, 2, 3, mark, 1, 2, 3, mark, and connect your dots. The thing is that you end up with a canvas with 12 squares. All right, let me go back just so I don't leave anything out that I wanted to tell you. Okay, we've divided it up now. There's 2 ways to approach this activity. One, you can take a color and a brush and make a circle in each square. Now I need to give myself some paint, and I'm going to start off with a yellow. Now for a palette, I use these lids that come with my dinner, or you can use those little plastic lids, anything that will retard leakage of your paint. Okay, before we go any further, these are really tough to open, especially if with no directions. So how I'm opening them is with a pin, with a hat pin, which I brought to demonstrate, which I now can't find. Anyway, if you use a pin into this seal.
In the corner.
Ken is pointing.
Hat pin, by your hand.
Ken is wonderful. He just helps me so much. Oh, there it is. Thank you, Ken. I just used a hat pin, and I took off the lid and poked just a little bit down there to make a little hole and sort of twist it around. You just have to be careful not to keep going and poking a hole into this tube. Now, after I went through all that and learned how to do it with a pin, then I learned that if you invert this lid, there's a little hoosie in there that if you screw that down, it will puncture that metal cap, like some medicine bottles. I was not successful doing this. First, my fingers just didn't want to screw that on. And second, after I got it screwed on, you don't really have to screw it. You just have to tap, tap, tap it. I just couldn't hold it, tap it. And anyway, when I finally got it done, the hole I thought was too big. So for today, let's just, you figure it out. Because I had a number of people say to me, they can't get the paints open. Well, now we know. Pin works, or the inverted cap with a tap, tap, tap on it. All right, so I started with yellow. You can start with any color. And Leanie has provided you with tons of brushes. 2 ways to do this. Probably more. I'm just going to talk about 2 ways. Complicated enough for me to get 2. All right. You can start, I'm starting with yellow. You can start with any color. Yellow. And you can start anywhere. I'm going to start right here and make a yellow. Can they see what I'm doing, Ken?
They can with this camera.
Huh?
They can with this camera.
Okay. Is that on?
Yep.
Okay. Put yellow there, and over here I'm going to put a yellow circle. And then maybe over here, another yellow, but maybe a smaller circle. And this is the way I did mine. I just took the same color and put it in a number of different places with different sized circles. Now, it doesn't take very much paint for this activity. And if you find that your paint seems a little thick, since this is a water-based paint, acrylics, you can just add just a tad of water and you'll get all the paint that you need to paint some concentric circles. All right, there I'm done with yellow. Now, I'm going to change colors, so what I must do is wash out this brush and dry it. Now, someone said that their paint dried out when they put it out here too quickly. I have this scarf on, I'm going to take it off in a minute. I was all dressed in black, I better have some color. If you have a spray bottle, or maybe Leanie has gotten you one, I don't know, but something that squirts, a quick squirt on your palette will give you plenty of moisture to thin out your paints. I'm still dealing with yellow here, so, and if you can make these different thicknesses. I get sort of carried away with what I'm doing here and having fun. That's one of the things that I care about, is if people come up to me and say, that was really fun. Because if it's not fun, we're going to try a different approach. Okay, I got yellow. Now, looking at what Kandinsky did, notice the circles are not uniform. They're not even,
Move the bottle.
thank you, Ken. They're not even carefully edged. They're just circles. So this is what I want you to try to do. Just get the color down. And the purpose of this whole lesson is for you to examine the colors in this big array of hues and learn which colors look good, which ones seem to work well with the next color. And what I'm going to try now is I'm just going to try a color that is rather close to yellow. Is this what you have to do? Absolutely not. This is yellow ochre. It's not a very pretty color by itself. But now when you squeeze this out, let's not do it like we used to in Sip and Paint. It's going to need just a dear little speck. Just a dear little speck of color. Should be enough. Nice brush. You can use any size brush that seems to work with you, for you. And I'm going to, since we're doing this by painting this color. Now, when I'm painting it, I want you to notice when you paint that if you have a lot of water on your brush, it thins out the color. If you take it directly from your tube, it's rather thick. Now, this, as I said, was yellow ochre. And so I've done two places with yellow ochre. That's probably, maybe one more, maybe a little thin line here of yellow ochre. The nice thing about doing this is there's absolutely no right way other than to use a variety of colors, which I'm trying to do. Okay, yellow ochre. That looks pretty good with the yellow. Now I'm going to try another color. And I'm going to stick to these warm colors and try, this one is named orange. Not a very artistic color. And I've opened these before with a pin, so there's just a little tiny dab of paint that comes out. So these will last you a long time. Orange. Now, I'm using the brush. I washed it off, dried it. Oh, paper towels are your best friend when you're doing this. And so I'm going to paint. Now, these are concentric circles, so I'm painting them orange there. Now, when you're doing this, you may find that you like the way that paint mixes with the next color. Maybe that color is still wet, and that's fine. And I kind of like them just, I don't like to see the white under it. Mixed it up. Orange. I still have some out here. Now, if that paint is drying up, remember, give it a little spritz of water, and if you don't have a spritzer, just a little drop or This is acrylic paint, which works a lot like oil paint, except it's much nicer to have to clean up. When you use oil, that's oil-based paint, and so you have to clean it with turpentine. This is a water-based, here Maxwell, sit down. Max is here, he's down on the floor. I'll bring him up in a little bit. He's getting so old. All right, now let's go the other way. You can see what I'm doing here, and I'll go back over that. But I started with one color, and I put it in 4 different blocks. Then I use another color and put it in 3 different blocks. And now I'm working on orange, and I like the way the orange works. I still have some paint, so I may go back here and make another center. Wash my brush, dry it off. All right, Maxie, come on. Maxie is a little bit antsy here because I'm standing on his, I'm standing on his leash. Here we go. Here's the old man. Maxwell, can you say hello? All right, this example, I'm going to pick a square, and I'm going to do all the work in one square. And since these are nice warm colors, I'm going to try using cooler. This is cerulean blue, which is a great blue, especially if you're doing a big sky. Now, here's another suggestion. When I use orange, that's orange, no big deal. But this is a word, cerulean blue, which is a good blue. So when you go to buy your own big tubes or other tubes, or this is all gone and you need to replace it, keep track of the name of the colors that you particularly like. Now, on your sheet that you got about, that I have written out my lesson plan, my talk, at the bottom of it, or on the second page, there's a list of supplies that you should have on hand. They are paper plates or plastic lids, a jar of water, a pencil, always good to have a pencil, an eraser, valuable part of a pencil, plastic gloves. I brought some to use, which of course I didn't put on, and that's sort of par. Plastic gloves keep your hands good so that you don't get glop on them. But anyway, if you do get paint on them, if you rinse it off right away, if you don't, you'll have that paint on there for a couple days. It's okay, it won't hurt you. And I also remembered my hair dryer. The hair dryer works great if you need to get an area dry right away instead of waiting. And so I remembered that, my hair dryer. I also brought my camera on my new telephone, which I can't work, and Ken looked at it too, and we figured I'll just take it, let my son figure out how to do that. He one gave it to me. But it's good to take pictures of your work. I do that when I'm working on a painting, especially this big painting I'm doing now. Take a picture of it, and then look at it later. It's like somebody else painted. Who painted that? It gives you a different perspective of what it looks like. And while I'm on that, when you're painting, stop and hold it away from you, or walk away from it and look at it. You'll see it with brand new eyes. You'll see what looks really good or what needs some work. Now, you know, you are artists. As soon as you put a mark on a piece of paper or canvas or the side of a barn, you are an artist. And I think too many of us grew up not being appreciated with what you can do. What you do is good. And I want you to view it as something good. Now, if you do that same thing maybe 10 or 15 times, maybe that good will get better. And if you do that another 10 or 15 times, maybe that better gets best. Do you remember that? Good, better, best. Never let it rest till the good is better and the better best. Little side there. All right, I'm down here now. Oh, what else? Oh, tape. Oh, Dawn detergent is a miracle worker with paint brushes. And so the better care that you take of paintbrushes, the longer they will last. So little Dawn in some water, swirled around to make suds, and rinsed off your brush is a good cleaner. Also tape. Had tap down here. I had to go back and add E to everything. The tape is to tape your canvas to your bag or your easel, which that I forgot that. All right, and the ruler, a regular ruler, or you can use any kind of straight edge. All right. Oh, and I mentioned paper towels. All right, we're going to work on one, and so I started with cerulean blue. Now, I really like this cerulean blue, so the next time I buy paint, I'm going to get that. So my suggestion is, over here on your paper, write down cerulean blue. Now, writing down orange is not a big help, but if you write down cerulean blue, the next time you want to buy blue and you want this shade, you'll know exactly the name. So this is a beautiful, it's like robin's egg blue or sky blue or Florida blue skies, but it's really a nice blue, and I'm going to start off with blue. Now, keeping to my theme of cool colors, I'm going to just go to a next one and using this. Now this green says emerald, which doesn't tell, I don't like this, so I'm going to use it since I squeezed it out, but I'm not going to use that again. It looks like a fake color to me, but I'm going to put it in here. Now actually it doesn't look quite as bad when I circle it around this blue. Okay, that looks all right. It needs a little bit of clean off. Now notice I've changed colors. I've washed my brush out each time, and to me it's whatever works with you, for you. Now this is ultramarine blue, a great blue, and you will use this in lots and lots. It's very strong color, but notice I don't use much paint. And when you're doing this, you don't need so much, but this is, now remember why we're doing this is a couple reasons. One, I wanted to introduce you to this artist who was one of the leaders in abstract art, really a fine painter, and this iconic study is one that people always associate with him. All right, now this is, all right, phthalo blue. I'm not sure about that. So maybe you'll want to open that and put just a tiny, it's really strong. Now I haven't used much paint at all, just a little. Do we still have time on this, or am I running through it? Okay. Ken's right here, directing me, helping me.
You're 25 minutes.
I'm in 25 minutes and we have 30. All right. Woo. Now suppose, you know what, that's pretty strong. I'm going to mix that with a little of this green that was left over and see what I get. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. In fact, I think that looks pretty nice. I'm going to remember that emerald green that I have and the phthalo blue makes a very nice. Now I'm going to finish up this square with one of my favorite colors. And here it's not a really good name. It says lavender. But there are lots of, lots of lavenders, but I don't remember the name of the purple that I do like. Okay. Purple, and this is the way I'm working. I'm here. Now, when I look at my palette where I sprayed it, I really sprayed it too much. So it's a little too wet. Too wet, get out my hair dryer and do a number on it. Goodbye wetness. Now, I'm not going to go ahead and, I'm having so much fun. Now, look what happened here. I went out of the lines. Is that a problem? Absolutely not. When I go to paint the next block, I'll just paint right over top of it. All right, now I'll show you one that I finished yesterday. And you can see I taped this down and then it left white. Usually I like a little white frame. I don't think I would, that's why I didn't tape it, I guess. I don't like that white interruption to my colors. But this is one that I did. This is certainly, I just followed my colors. I tried to use warm. I introduced warm and cool. I experimented. You have 20 or 24 colors here. So that's my charge to you. Experiment with color. Write down the ones that you like. And let me look where we are now. I'm going to read a couple of things here. If the circles look wonky, good. That's no problem with that. The purpose is think about color and the relationship of one color with another. Put your name on it and make sure your name is visible. Try not to hide it in the little corner, and please don't use your initials, but put your name on it prominently. Be proud of what you're doing. Your name should be a big part of this picture. It's part of the picture. Don't rush through this. I spent a half hour here almost, and I'm not finished. But continue to work on this. This is one you can stop and start anytime that you have time or the notion strikes you. Get your work to me by Friday, 2 ways. Give it to Laura at the desk or in a bag and hang it on my doorknob. Then I will use those paintings, your squares with concentric circles, to make prints and put them on cards for you. I hope you all got to see the display in the lobby that Leanie made of sip and paint work. So happy to see she picked out Carol and Bev's as people to paint. Each one selected paintings that they wanted to display, and she made a nice arrangement in a frame. Looks really, really good. I hope you have more opportunity to display your work. You are artists and good artists. By the way, Dick Dill's work went missing. Are there any clues to that? They were put in the boxes all the same time. Okay, thank you for your continuing interest in painting. It's a good thing, and it's something that you can do for a long time. And it's something that you can do a little bit of and put away. But let me just tell you, the more you do, the better you will be as painters. But even your first attempt should give you a great deal of pride. You're good painters. Thank you for watching this video, and we'll see you in March. Is that the next? No, February. No, March. What's the next month? March. March?
March.
March. Something green. All righty. Thank you very much. Cleanup time.